Hi, I'm Rob. Welcome to your Daily Constitution. I am coming to you from the Rethink Home Studios in Anchorage, Alaska. So if you have a moment, take a look at rethinkhome.net. We have a lot of really cool stuff in here. There is furniture, there is a ton of artwork, and all kinds of just interesting things from all around the world. So if you have a moment, rethinkhome.net. Come by us if you're here in Anchorage at 322 Fireweed Lane. So, as I said, this is your daily Constitution, where we're going to take a little bit of the Constitution each day and read it. We'll look at it an article at a time, section by section, and just take a short video each day until we get all the way through it. We're going to read it straight through. We'll look at when items are changed by amendments, but we're not going to go look at those amendments until we get to the amendment section, and then we'll go back and look at what they changed. So, sit back and enjoy, and let's get started with your daily Constitution. Once again, coming to you not from the Rethink Home Studios, but the cozy, we'll call it the Restless Dog Studios, because I have some restless dogs around me thinking it's getting close to food time. But anyway, I digress, because we need to get into this daily Constitution. So let's go with Article 20. Article 20 reads, the terms of the President and Vice President shall end at noon on the 20th day of January, and the terms of Senators and Representatives at noon on the 3rd day of January of the years in which such terms have ended, if this article had not been ratified, and the terms of their successors shall then begin. The Congress shall assemble at least once in every year, and such meetings shall begin at noon on the 3rd day of January, unless they shall by law appoint a different day. Section 3. If at the time fixed for the beginning of the term of the President-elect shall have died, the Vice President-elect shall become President. If a President shall not have been chosen before the time fixed for the beginning of this term, or if the President-elect shall have failed to qualify, then the Vice President-elect shall act as President until a President shall have qualified, and the Congress may, by law, provide for the case wherein neither a President-elect nor a Vice President-elect shall have qualified, declaring who shall then act as President, or the manner in which one who is to act shall be selected, and such person shall act accordingly until a President or Vice President shall have qualified. Section 4. Congress may, by law, provide for the case of the death of any of the persons for whom the House of Representatives may choose a president, whenever the right of choice shall have devolved upon them, and for the case of the death of any of the persons for whom the Senate may choose a vice president, whenever the right choice have been devolved upon them. So the House chooses president, Senate chooses vice president in case, people pass away before they can be sworn in. Sections 1 and 2 shall take effect on the 15th day of October following the ratification of this article. Section 6, the article shall be inoperative unless it shall have been ratified as an amendment to the Constitution by the legislatures of 3/4 of the several states within 7 years from the date of submission. This one, the 20th Amendment of the Constitution was proposed to the legislatures of the several states by the 72nd Congress on the 2nd day of March 1932 and was declared in a proclamation by the Secretary of State dated on the 6th day of February 1933, so less than a year to ratify, to have been ratified by the legislatures of 36 of the 47 states. And the dates of ratification were in 1932, Virginia, March 4th, New York, March 11th, Mississippi, March 16th, Arkansas, March 17th, Kentucky, March 17th, New Jersey, March 21st, South Carolina, March 25th, Michigan, March 31st, Maine, April 1st, Rhode Island, April 14th, Illinois, April 21st, Louisiana, June 22nd, West Virginia, July 30th, Pennsylvania, August 11th, Indiana, August 15th, Texas, September 7th, Alabama, September 13th, California, January 4th, North Carolina, January 5th, North Dakota, January 9th, Minnesota, January 12th, Arizona, January 13th, Montana, January 13th, Nebraska, January 13th, Oklahoma, January 13th, Kansas, January 16th, Oregon, January 16th, Delaware, January 19th, Washington, January 19th, Wyoming, January 19th, Iowa, January 20th, South Dakota, January 20th, Tennessee, January 20th, Idaho, January 21st, New Mexico, January 21st, Georgia, January 23rd, Missouri, January 23rd, Ohio, January 23rd, Utah, January 23rd, 1933. Ratification was completed on January 23rd, 1933. So you can see how it goes pretty quick in some states, and you got some time lapse, and it picks up again. So that's kind of neat to see how these states all ratified that. So why the 20th Amendment was needed? Let's take just a quick peek at that. I will set up this. Stop screen. Okay, there we go. Share screen. And bam. Share that. All right. And at the time of the ratification, Article 1 of the Constitution asserted that Congress is expected to meet at least once a year. While Congress has the authority to choose whatever date it would be, the default provided by the Constitution was the first Monday of December after the new Constitution was ratified. Congress set March 7, 1789, the day the new U.S. government would commence its operations. No calendar date for federal elections was specified in the Constitution, so Congress in 1790 set the date to take place time frame between November and early December. If you read on, it says, that the 4 months, the 4-month delay worked as a grace period for newly elected leaders to settle their current affairs and for some to prepare for a long-term move to new jobs. Because, back then in the 18th century, moving to Washington, D.C., especially from these far away places, took a long time. But then in the 1900s, 1930s, it really became important. And then both, so the 20th Amendment was made so that it brought the time earlier. It said January. And there were a couple of national crises that solidified this. One was Abraham Lincoln's election in 1860 and Franklin Roosevelt in 1932 with the beginning of the Civil War and then the Great Depression. And even though they made promises that, they were going to look into these things, they couldn't do it until March. And so that was why the 20th Amendment was important. It still took until 1933 to make it happen. But now we have that solidified. And Congress, sets on January 3rd. And then, yeah. So anyway, that is today's Daily Constitution. Join us tomorrow, and we will look into the 21st Amendment, and that should be fun. I'm not sure exactly what it is, so we'll learn it together tomorrow. All right, thank you. We'll see you next time.